Hey! Do you have a brutal-looking set of armor and conspicuous amount of eyeliner? Are you overly committed to never committing?
Is Scott here?
You know what? He just left.
Well, congratulations! You might be an Oathbreaker. But what is an Oathbreaker? Well, make sure you polish your horned helmet, don't worry too much about scaring the peasants, they won't be around long anyway, and try to find time to bully the warlock since you got all this spooky magic without having to sell your soul, because there's nothing quite like a good guy gone bad.
Bad to the bone. Bad to the bone.
Paladins, stalwart guardians of honor, dignity, and justice. Defenders of the weak, protectors of the innocent, and the goodiest of the goody two-shoes. But it takes a lot to be a paladin. You aren't just given magical powers from a divine source, you summon these gifts from the very depths of your soul. And sure, you may serve a higher purpose or align with some godly values, but you aren't tied to them unless you choose to be, making you unique when compared to other casters that dabble in the divine. It takes something most people don't have. Conviction. A rare trait even amongst those who serve at the behest of others. It's what not only gives you the tenacity to overcome insane odds, but also pull incredible feats of strength and magic out of your well-armored tush.
What you saying, huh? Yeah.
This conviction is our true source of power, and we die before we let our oath be broken. Well, most of the time. The Oathbreaker Paladin is a cruel twist on the Paladin mythos, asking the question, what if the Paladin just kept the dope smiting and incredible overconfidence without the burden of caring about some stupid rulebook? An Oathbreaker is someone who once understood the tenets of law and order, or protecting the light, or even doing enough sit-ups to give yourself magic, and decided to rebuke it all to become something a lot more dangerous. You no longer care about oaths, instead using your might to fulfill your own goals, whether it be a selfish need for revenge or a dark allegiance to a less than savory god. But it's up to you how your paladin lost touch with their oath. Did they fall out of favor after learning a messy truth about their favorite divine being? Or did they make a promise to a beloved ally that broke the tenets set by their oath? Maybe your paladin was caught in a situation where saving a friend meant betraying themselves, and after wrestling with that decision lost the reason they took their oath in the first place. Or maybe you screwed up a dialogue prompt in the first 10 minutes of Baldur's Gate 3 and met this spooky fucker by accident. However you got there, it makes no difference. You have lost something that can't be reclaimed by normal means. You've shattered your holy and sacred vow, desecrated your conviction, and tarnished your honor. Amongst the paladins, you're now considered an outcast, a renegade, and an insult to those who keep their oaths true. So, with all that, I guess we might as well break bad. But first, are you nostalgic for the gameplay aesthetics of a different era? Do you love high fantasy but aren't a big fan of revisiting clunky point-and-click silliness? Well then, my friends, allow me to take you back to the lands of Arathia, because the acclaimed Heroes of Might and Magic series has finally come to our tables. Using the Modiphius' 2D20 system found in incredible works like the Fallout and Conan TTRPGs, Heroes of Might and Magic allows us to lead nations and help rebuild the world after titanic battles shake the continent. Watch as you and your allies become legendary figures and shape the world as you see it, growing your settlements into the new seat of power and going on epic quests to reveal the true nature of a new but familiar world. All of this and so much more can be found at the Kickstarter in the link below, and remember to act fast to jump onto all those stretch goals before the time runs out. Just remember to click that button to tell them Yimba sent ya. A huge thanks to Modiphius and the Heroes of Might and Magic team for sponsoring the show. And now, back to the video. So you're thinking of becoming a powerful conduit of righteous fury, but aren't completely sold on this whole oath thing. Well, believe it or not, you can actually start to get a taste of that magic without diving head first, as long as we start out as a paladin. Paladins are the stereotypical knights in shining armor over here in D&D land, and while you're still debating on how hard you want to lean into that, you'll at least get a few tools of the trade. So we'll grab Divine Sense to sniff out angel dust and devil farts, giving us a beeline straight to any celestials, fiends, or undead within a 60-foot radius. themselves, or detect if any land we're currently standing on has been desecrated or consecrated by some otherworldly being. And since we've yet to really choose a team, we might as well stay away from both.
I'm playing both sides so that I always come out on top.
We also get Lay on Hands, an incredibly useful pool of hit points that comes in very handy if we took a bunch of hits in a fight. And it turns out if we spend 5 points at a time, we can even cure disease or neutralize a poison in case we caught a case of the sniffles or had too much at the pub. Or, you know, heal the weak or something. I don't know, sounds like a waste of hit points to me. But since we'll obviously be doing a lot of fighting, second level lets us pick up a fighting style. And straight damage is always the way to go. So forget styles like protection and interception and go straight for something like great weapon fighting to unleash the most carnage we can. I didn't come here to make sure these chumps use me as a human shield. I came here to kill goblins and chew bubblegum.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Speaking of kicking ass, second level also means we get access to a little spellcasting. Oh, wait. Hell yeah. Laying the harshest divine smackdown on every dumb motherfucker that gets in our way is the entire reason we became a paladin. I mean, sure, we probably want to help others, but we need it to... This lets you clobber your enemies with 2d6 radiant damage by pumping in a first level spell slot and sending an extra d8 for each spell level higher and an additional d8 for fiends and undead. But my favorite part about this ability is that you can use it after the roll is called, meaning you get to sit back and wait for those devastating critical hits and deliver those dice to your enemy's face like the teabag from hell. But you know what's the worst part about all this paladin stuff? All these weak fools looking to us for answers. Why can't they just fight for themselves instead of trying to make us their lapdogs? No respect, no glory, just servitude to an ungrateful world. Where's the honor in that? When third level finally arrives, it's up to us to make a choice. Will we live amongst the powerless nobodies desperately struggling to be something else? Or will we serve ourselves and only ourselves from here on? The Oathbreaker Paladin chooses the latter, becoming a dark knight and extinguishing any light they may have had in their soul for immense power. Starting with Channel Divinity. Turns out when a paladin breaks bad, they break bad hard, becoming a badass with hellish powers. Like Control Undead, where we used to just smite these bony dipshits and be done with it, now we can take over what's left of their rotting minds and control an undead for 24 hours as long as their challenge rating is below your paladin level and they fail a wisdom saving throw. Meaning things like zombies, skeletons, and specters are good to go at this level, but you'll have to get a lot better if you want to make Strahd do the hokey pokey. So we'll also grab the Dreadful Aspect. This ability is wild, letting you spend a Channel Divinity to focus your hate into a blast of mental anguish. This causes all creatures within 30 feet to pass another wisdom saving throw or be frightened of you for a minute, only being able to repeat this save if they make it more than 30 feet away. Frightened creatures aren't turned though, so they aren't compelled to run and may try to fight, but can't move closer to you by choice and has disadvantage on all attack rolls. Basically, you run up into the middle of a fight, scream a string of insane curses that curdle the stomachs of even the baddest of bad guys, and walk through cutting them down while they piss their pants. We also get oath spells, which are actually pretty fire, like Hellish Rebuke, a chance to respond to an attack by puking up fire damage on the one that hit you by spending a reaction. Or if you just want a little more punch, Inflict Wounds is just mean. Basically opening up old scars on an opponent's body and sending 3d10 necrotic damage coursing through their veins. Nasty, but it's still more fun to... You know that saying, the good die young? Well, with divine health, we may never die. At least not to disease, since we're immune. Which means our last third level ability is Harness Divine Power, which could be useful to turn a Channel Divinity into a spell slot as a bonus action, just in case you don't want to fool around with scared nerds or undead thralls, and just want an extra Inflict Wounds or Hellish Rebuke. Or you could combine this with extra attack at level 5 for 2 attacks per round, and more chances to... Fifth level also gets us second level spells, and Crown of Madness is kinda crazy, letting you infect your target's mind with the madness of hate and rage, making them attack whoever you choose every round as an action. But you also get Darkness, which is a pretty cool option for an easy getaway or a tactical advantage. If you ever did decide to take a dip into Warlock or grab the Eldritch Adept feat, the Devil's Sight Invocation can make for a pretty wild combo here, especially the advantage on 6th level means Aura of Protection, but we probably won't be protecting much more than ourselves, though if any creature does decide to hang around your grumpy ass, they'll get an extra boost to saving throws equal to your Charisma modifier as long as they're within 10 feet, which they might need because we also get the Aura of Hate, which not only increases your damage with melee weapons by your Charisma modifier, it also increases the damage of any fiends and undead, whether you're allies with them or not. Damn. That's wild. Hate is a powerful thing, and it could come back to bite us in the ass if we're not careful, but fuck it, we ball. 9th level means 2 more Paladin spells, and is there anything meaner than Bestow Curse? Not only are curses kinda hard to get rid of, on a failed wisdom saving throw you can curse a target with several different effects, like disadvantage on ability checks and saves, wasting their turn every round, or doing an additional d8 of damage, or at your DM's discretion you can also hot swap one of these effects for something weird. But I'm here for Animate Dead. Not only do you get to raise a zombie or skeleton from a corpse, but this monster follows all of your commands, fights on your behalf, and gains the bonuses from your Aura of Hate. You may not have any friends, but at least your guys are bad to the bone. Moving on, level 10 means Aura of Courage, but for us it's really just Aura of Badass. Hard to be afraid of something dangerous when we are the danger. As well as improved Divine Smite at level 11, letting us deal an extra d8 of radiant damage with all weapon attacks, so we can feel alright all night on every 13th level means even more spells, and there's no confusion as to why we got confusion. Damn, does becoming evil make you bad at jokes? But essentially you get to meddle with your opponent's mind, making them run in a random direction or do nothing with their turn, or even possibly hit a friend. Or if we just want to kill them outright, we can send a blight their way, giving that creature 8d8 necrotic damage on a failed constitution save as you drain the vitality completely out of their bodies in a devastating magical attack. And a huge fuck you to trees. Luckily, we can avoid any of this happening to us, as 14th level gets us Cleansing Touch, meaning we can spend our action to end one spell on ourself or a willing creature a number of times equal to our Charisma modifier. These pitiful morons think we're gonna go down to a mean bit of magic? Please, eat sword, dumbass. But it's 15th level where we get Supernatural Resistance. Now to be fair, this isn't my favorite ability we get and has the same problems I talked about in the War Cleric video, in that most weapons at this level are magical, and this doesn't work against damage from something like, I don't know, falling off a mountain. But with all the other stuff we have going on, I'm less concerned with this ability, and it can be useful against low-level hordes if we end up in that kind of fight. But that means it's 17th level and we'll end with our last 2 Paladin spells. Contagion is so mean and so fun, forcing a Constitution saving throw against 11d8 necrotic damage and poisoning the target on a fail. If they somehow get away and survive, this also has a chance to make them sick for a whole 7 days. And while maybe not as mechanically beneficial, it's super funny to just give your enemy the flu as they run back to their base and hide for a week. But Dominate Person is really our bread and butter, giving ourselves a servant to fight on our behalf, or turning the biggest guy in the room on the enemy team is always great. But this ability is amazing for extracting information, sneaking into strongholds, or, you know, practice. But that means it's level 20 and our capstone is finally here as we become a Dreadlord. This title is not only fitting for a bad boy like us, but also comes with a suite of perks, causing any creature frightened by you, like through your dreadful aspect channel divinity, to take 4d10 psychic damage if they start their turn within that 30-foot aura. Any light in said aura is also dimmed, not for any reason other than drip, and you can drape all creatures you choose, including yourself, into a deep shadow. All other creatures that rely on sight have disadvantage on attack rolls against you while you keep this up. And finally, if that wasn't enough, you can spend your bonus action to make the shadows leap out and attack any creature in the aura, forcing them to take an extra 3d10 plus your charisma modifier in damage. Now, you may be thinking that it sucks to only be able to do this once per day, but baby, that's all we need. So, does the Oathbreaker make us feel so good to be so bad? Good lord, the Oathbreaker is truly one of a kind. There is no subclass in D&D that puts this much emphasis on lore and player decisions than this one, and I think that is so frickin' cool. I didn't get a chance to mention this before, but an Oathbreaker Paladin can happen at any level, meaning if your player made some decisions that you and they agree constituted them breaking their oath, they can flip to this subclass automatically, whether they're at levels 3 or 15. And don't get me started on roleplay potential. Oathbreakers are so thick and juicy when it comes to cool lore, and it gives your players and yourself tons of chances to test their characters, well, character. Maybe your player is headed in a negative character arc and some force is causing them to have an evil or chaotic outlook, and they become an Oathbreaker to fulfill their duty, no longer caring what it does to them in the process. A classic tortured anti-hero. You can even flip this on its head, creating an evil character from the beginning, something like a conquest paladin that decides they want to change their ways, but in the process of breaking their oath is now cursed with the powers of an Oathbreaker, but uses them to try to make up for their dark past. It's up to you how you want to play it, but this subclass has an amazing place to start. I also mentioned multi-classing, and while I'd never want to take the Dreadlord capstone away from you, Warlock is pretty perfect for the Oathbreaker, giving you access to more spells, but also the Hexblade Witch Knight combo is so rad here it hurts. I guess to wrap it up, the Oathbreaker Paladin is famous for a reason, and it shines both mechanically and lore-wise, which makes my little dark heart sing. I love how much you can do both in combat and out, I love how much flavor is dripping out of every ability, and I love the emphasis on player choice that no other class has. So for that, it's pretty much perfect. Some might even say broken. But if you got tired of the hero life and want a chance to unleash your dark side, don't mind partying with the zombies and aren't sure why these guys get such a bad rap, and have townsfolk everywhere terrified of the original edgelord, guess what? You might be an Oathbreaker. Hey guys, this was a long time coming, huh? I hope it was worth it. I can feel the next subclass showdown is going to be a lot of fun. But if you all like what I do and want to support the channel, consider sending this video to a friend, especially if their paladin is making less than kind choices recently. That'd be fun. Plus it really helps me and the channel grow, so I really appreciate it. If you want to support me even more, you can also jump over to the Patreon for just $1, where top 10 patrons get games DM'd by me. So to those guys, Ted Z, Miles Not Yards, King Osiris, Spider Lover, and Sora Sin, thank you all again for your support, and I can't wait to play again. To everyone else, take a nat 20 from me on your next session, and I'll see you very soon.